The Ever So Lean podcast.
Extra!
You know it makes sense.
Welcome to Ever So Lean Extra, where we serve up an extra dose of excellence. I'm Matt Sims, and I'll be your host as we dive deep into the heart of the UK Excellence Awards. In Season 1, we're immersing ourselves in the prestigious British Quality Foundation as we look inside the UK Excellence Awards, an event that epitomises innovation, quality and sheer excellence on a monumental scale. Imagine a platform where industry leaders, influencers and visionaries converge to celebrate the pinnacle of achievement in business. But we're not just spectators, we're rolling up our sleeves and diving headfirst into each award category. From the judges who meticulously study every submission to the sponsors who lend their support, from the finalists who embody excellence to the winners who stand triumphant. We'll hear from them all. Why do they get involved and what secrets do they hold for achieving excellence? It's all here on Ever So Lean Extra as we uncover the stories behind the glitz and glamour, delving deep into the minds of those who make this event truly spectacular. Picture this, Wembley Stadium, Thursday the 27th of March 2025, because that's where we're heading for the next awards. The UK Excellence Awards are the Oscars of the business world, a star-studded affair buzzing with innovation and inspiration. It's where brilliance meets recognition, where hard work meets its well-deserved spotlight. Ever So Lean Extra is your inside scoop to the most prestigious event in the business calendar. Welcome to Ever So Lean Extra, where excellence really does take centre stage. Customer experience is essential for building loyalty and ensuring the success of any business or service. But how do you become truly excellent in customer experience? The Excellence in Customer Experience Award at the UK Excellence Awards recognises organisations that prioritise their customers at every touchpoint. It focuses on understanding customer journeys, responding to their changing needs, and staying ahead of the competition. Now, in this episode, we'll hear from 2023 winners and reigning champions Octopus Energy and finalists Arthur Ellis. We'll also gain exclusive insights from Mark Vernon from Arval, who was on the judging panel. Mike's viewpoint could be invaluable in understanding what the category judges are looking for in the winning entry. But first, let's talk about the importance of customer centricity with Laura McLaren, Head of Continuous Improvement at Tesco, a brand synonymous with putting customers first, and proud sponsors of the Excellence in Customer Experience category. Will Tesco be back to sponsor this award at the 2025 awards at Wembley Stadium? Let's find out.
The Ever So Lean podcast.
Extra!
You know it makes sense.
So I am joined in the studio by the lovely Laura McLaren. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Very good. Thanks so much for joining us today. I know you're super busy and squeezing in this little old podcast to talk about some really exciting stuff is much appreciated.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So Laura is from Tesco, and I always tempted to say Tesco's. You always tempted to put an S on the end. Is that just me? Is that where I'm from?
No, I think a lot of people do that. Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
It is a thing, isn't it? I wonder if it's a southern thing. What I tend to do. So it's Tesco, ends in an O.
Yes.
And Tesco were heavily involved in the UK Excellence Awards. They were the sponsor of Excellence in Customer Experience. And Laura's going to share with us a little bit about the journey.
Yes.
How did that come about? What's the story behind that?
What is in our DNA is everything we do beginning and ending with customers. Everybody knows that famous Tesco tagline of every little helps. And I think a lot of people think about that old advert.
Yeah, exactly what's in my head.
Yeah, and it was coming across as every little helps is about saving customers money and, customers getting good value from Tesco. But actually, it means more than that to us internally. Internally, it means every little helps in terms of when you interact with a colleague in a store, or you interact with a colleague on the end of a phone, or even you're using our online journeys through our app or our website, we're trying to make it as easy as possible. We're trying to make it as simple as possible, as accessible as possible, and helping that customer get what they need. So because we feel so passionately about excellent customer service and making customer journeys really simple, really easy, really positive, it was a no-brainer to sponsor this award, which is all about driving excellence for customers.
Are you sponsoring again next year?
We are, yeah. It's our hat trick year of sponsoring this award.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really important. And in sponsoring the award as well, you get the opportunity usually to help with some of the judging. So you get to see all those entries coming in from other organisations. And I love kind of reading through them and understanding like what is happening elsewhere in terms of driving excellence for customers. It not only kind of sparks your brain thinking about, oh gosh, that is a brilliant idea and that is really innovative, but you can also sense the pride that people have in the work that they do and the work that they support their colleagues in doing. And that's kind of my favorite part. You know, we've seen people in BQF go up to collect these awards in tears because they feel so proud of their achievement. So yeah, it really does mean something.
It does. And I think it is, just the BQF being associated with it, it is the pinnacle. It's like the Oscars of the excellence world. And when you see, especially when you see the frontline folk go up there, and probably never usually attend these sorts of events, and they go up there to collect an award that they won, for, like you say, through their work. Sponsoring that must be a really, really rewarding thing to do, being associated with that. I think that's brilliant.
And it speaks really nicely as well, showing our commitment to innovation and excellence through sponsoring that award. It speaks really nicely to kind of what we're all about in Tesco Business Solutions and also kind of wider Tesco Group. So, yeah.
Sounds brilliant. You're inspiring me, Laura. I feel like popping down my local Tesco. I feel part of it. I did that. Have a look round.
This is a customer announcement. With the driver of the silver car, please remove it as you are blocking our inbound lorry bay. And also, just to let you know, we will be sponsoring the 2025 UK Excellence Awards, Excellence in Customer Service, because every little helps.
Only joking. That was just me having a laugh. That wasn't actually a Tesco store. But absolutely brilliant news that Tesco are going to be sponsoring this award again at Wembley Stadium next year. But you know what's really fascinating there, by the way, was listening to what Laura was saying about how it's really good to see how other organisations are doing things and how are they making customer experience so good, learning from them and seeing what they can apply back at Tesco. It's a really, really good point, actually. Also, the pride that people have. Laura was talking about how at the awards ceremony itself, as the people are coming up to receive the award, you can just see the smiles and the pride beaming from their aura, from their face. It's amazing. And she's so right, because you can actually see that when you're there. It's such a magical night that's so electric in the atmosphere. Right, let's hear from one of our finalists. I sat down with John Manning from Arthur Ellis, and I asked John, why did Arthur Ellis enter this particular award? Why do they think they are excellent in customer experience?
Well, at Arthur Ellis, we run a one-to-one service, so we see our job is essentially to work with businesses, corporates, provide education to leaders, staff. That helps to fund a one-to-one service we offer out to anyone from the age of 8 years old onwards. So just over 50% of the people in that one-to-one service are between 8 and 25. And then 26 plus is another sort of 50%. So we look after about 2,500 families a year or so. And yes, we work with corporates. It's really important to make sure that our training is right, that our education is right, that we're having an impact to private businesses. But ultimately, we're doing that for the reason of supporting anybody who's having a negative impact on their mental health. So for us, anything that we do with a corporate, any revenue that we get, we invest it into improving the lives of that community. So understanding their voice in it, understanding what they need, just directs everything that we do. And it determines what direction we go as an organisation, what we invest in. So we have to listen to our customers. It's boded well so far. We've got really good reviews. We're the highest reviewed mental health service in our region. hopefully eventually the country want to expand to be a national service, but to sort of highlight that and the processes we go through in order to do that, it's very important for us. And I think for our internal staff as well, internally, it's a challenge to work in this field, and our own internal staff sometimes need a pick-me-up. And I think recognising their work, because they dedicate so much to this community, is super important.
I was going to ask you if they see it as a form of recognition for the work they've been doing, because so often in the professional environment, we forget to celebrate what we've been doing. We do something, we do it well, we very quickly then move on to the next target and the next target. And we kind of forget that moment of saying to people, do you know what you've done is brilliant, well done.
And this is what I mean by, we didn't win this award, but I still see it as a success, because even if we weren't through to the final, by just going through the application process, the questions that the awards application asks, and going through that with the team, it's a really good method of reflecting on what have we actually done here, what are we doing. Because you're so right, it's day to day, it's what's happening tomorrow, what's happening next week, rather than how well did we do last week, often. And it's really easy to get into that cycle or to fall into that trap of being so future focused rather than accepting the recognition of the work that you're already doing. And going through the application process was really beneficial, I think, for recognizing the impact that we're having, the solutions that we're able to find, the problems that we've solved, and it kind of reignites stuff for us internally and helps us recognize what we're actually doing.
Are you planning on entering this one again next year? And if you are, what are you going to do to make sure you nail this one down? This is your award next year, I've got a feeling.
Well, we do have something that's going on at the minute, which we have listened a lot to our customers. We call them customers, like the people in the one-to-one service that we're supporting. So we call them clients internally. We've listened a lot to them, and as a new service, as someone that we're trying to, we're a not-for-profit and a charity, so we haven't got an awful lot to invest and that sort of thing. So we're looking at doing a lot of digitizing, so giving the patients, the clients, a lot more choice in who they see. When they have appointments, we are adapting our service so that rather than normal operating hours like Monday to Friday, we're opening up at the weekends so people have got more ability to access support. Eventually, we want to be a 7-day service so that people don't have to take time out of school, don't take time out of work, whatever it might be. So there's a big transformation going on internally at the moment, which we may want to highlight in some award entries, but I won't sort of share any more than that just yet.
Don't give away any secrets. People might copy your idea.
Yeah. So honestly, they can try. Better them than me at the minute.
Wow, what incredible work they're doing at Arthur Ellis. And how hard must it have been for that judging panel? Because for me, that's a worthy winner any day of the week. It just goes to show how high that bar is and how stiff the competition is at the UK Excellence Awards. It really is the UK's pinnacle in terms of business excellence. Amazing stuff. And do you know what was really fascinating, what John was saying there? And what's so true, and it'll be applicable absolutely everywhere, but particularly with Arthur Ellis, given the type of work they're doing, and the challenging field, and can be really a mental strain on his employees. But they use this as an opportunity to get recognition for the work that they do, to reflect on what they've done and celebrate just how good they are at what they're doing. Whether win or not on the night, they are absolutely winners all day long, and I'm loving the work they're doing, and I cannot wait to see what their entry looks like in 2025. I'll see it at Wembley Stadium. I can't wait. But you could be there as well. Head over to bqf.org.uk and get yourself some seats. It's a lovely meal in a beautiful venue, and you're going to meet some really inspiring people from all sorts of industries. It's absolutely brilliant. Right, where are we going next? I can't remember where we're going now. I'm totally thrown by John's wonderful story. I think we'll head over to Mike Vernon, who was a judge on the panel, and he can give us a little bit of an insight into just how tough it was and give us a little behind-the-scenes peek at what the judges were looking for in this particular category. And a little nudge, nudge, wink, wink for you. If you're thinking about entering the Excellence in Customer Experience Award, listen very carefully to Mike over the next few minutes because there could be some golden nuggets in this to support your entry.
Firstly, I was pleasantly surprised and I felt very proud to be asked to be a judge for the Excellence in CX Award. This was Arval's first year as a BQF member, so it was a great opportunity for me to see firsthand how the judging works. And to hear about all of the great CX initiatives that all of the other members have delivered. Judging the award definitely reinforced how critical CX is to every single business, regardless of the size, the purpose, or the industry sector. And it also provided a great opportunity for me personally to extend my network and meet some like-minded people who ultimately they've got the same kind of challenges and goals that I've got in my role. Interesting things I saw from the applicants. So there were so many great things shared by everybody, but there were a few that really, really stood out for me. I think Arthur Ellis, who provide mental health support, they were doing 5 patient referrals a month, and through their initiative managed to increase that to 200 a month. And referral time was significantly reduced, and they saw a 147% increase in patient wellbeing. So great results and a really good cause. Costa, I like this one. They had a desire ultimately to make it easier for their partners, so companies who have got their coffee machines on site, to contact Costa should they have any issues or queries. And I like this one just because of the simplicity but effectiveness of the solution. So it's just to add a QR code to each machine with a chat link embedded. So that managed to reduce inbound traffic to their call centre by 10%. 15% of the queries could be actually managed by a chatbot, and there was scope to increase that. But ultimately 75% of the customers actually rated that solution 4 or 5 stars, so a very successful CX initiative there. The one that absolutely stood out to me though was Octopus. I really liked how they kind of think big and very forward thinking when it came to their goals. So ultimately they want to reduce climate change, they want to save the world, and they want to treat all of their customers very well. So they spend a proportion of their profits on renewable energy transition, so directly kind of contributing to that climate change goal. And then they put aside £250 million to help those customers who are struggling, doing things like performing affordability checks so they could give reductions on bills or offer payment breaks. They gave away 50,000 energy efficient electric blankets and lent out thermal cameras to show energy wastage on your home, so you can then take steps to improve it and become more efficient. But really the results speak volumes when it comes to their CX. So Trustpilot score of 4.7 versus an industry average of 3.7. So kind of head and shoulders above the competition really. NPS score of 69, and they've won the Which Award for 6 consecutive years. So very, very strong results. I especially liked how they've gone the extra mile to make things easier for their customers who have accessibility challenges. So various things, but like offering sign language, providing talking meters for customers that may be blind, having multilingual advisors at the end of the phone. You can be contacted 24/7 through their call centres, and even their website was designed by a neurodiverse developer in order to enable accessibility. So really thinking of that kind of vulnerable customer and accessibility challenges that people may face. Very, very impressive.
Thank you, Mike. And that was a really, really good, thorough overview of exactly what the judges went through in that category. And what's really good about that as well, which I really enjoyed, was hearing about the different types of entries. And Mike covered it off really well, and he gave some really good descriptions into exactly what was put in front of him and the other judges. So that might just help you a little bit in your entry into this category. Customer experience is such an important piece, because without the customers, you wouldn't have a business. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So they are such a central crown jewel piece of what you do. And hearing how people are doing excellent things in this space is just, it's awe-inspiring, isn't it? It really is. It really does sort of capture you and think, what could I do differently? What could I do better? And that insight from Mike was super valuable. Thank you, Mike. That leaves us just one place to go. We're going into the ocean to meet an octopus, to understand exactly what our reigning champions do to make them excellent in customer experience. Let's speak to Matt Pearson over at Octopus Energy. So I'm with Matt from Octopus Energy, and they are the reigning champions of excellence in customer experience, picking up the UK Excellence Awards 2023 Winners Trophy. Hello, Matt.
Hi, Matt. Good to meet a fellow Matt.
It's weird, isn't it, Matt? Hello, Matt. Maha, Matt. Congratulations again. An amazing achievement. Your team were absolutely buzzing on the night. It was a real honour to speak with them multiple times. They were really excited about winning. And even beforehand, they didn't expect to win, which I think made it even more special.
Yeah, no, I was gutted I couldn't go myself, but we picked a couple of people at random to go along, and yeah, sounded like a great night.
They did you proud. They had a good night. I think that's probably the safest way of explaining it. So you entered the Excellence in Customer Experience Award. Why is this topic so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself really, but when I look back at the original entry that we put in, there's a little blurb about what the award is all about. So I'll just quote some of the bits off of it. So, are your customers at the heart of what you do? Do you understand how your customers interact with you? Are you continuously striving to make things better for your customers? I've worked at a lot of places that would say that they do that. I've only worked at one place that actually does that, and that's Octopus. We literally put the customer at the front of everything that we do. So whether that's designing a new system or improving a system, customer's the first thing we think of. Whether it's going out with a marketing campaign, whether it's making decisions here in one of our offices around how we're going to prioritise certain things, the customer's always the first thing. Closely followed by staff, should I say. We do a lot in that respect as well. So customers are most important alongside keeping our people happy that do the hard work.
So your customer focus is both external customer and internal customer.
Absolutely, yeah.
What's the relevance of the octopus?
Oh, wow, you caught me out there a little bit because I don't actually know. It's like so ingrained in everything that we do. I don't actually know the reason.
Do you know what I think it is in my head? This has got no basis whatsoever. I imagine an octopus has obviously got 8 arms, and that's what octopus is doing. You're constantly juggling lots of things and looking after lots of people. So you need 8 arms to do it.
I mean, that is that's what we use internally. So like,
that's
one of the things. It's one of the images that we talk about internally, because our guys that actually sat behind me in this meeting room, they are juggling multiple tasks. They don't just take calls from customers all day. We enrich their role with lots of different things. So they'll be working on stuff in the background of the system. They'll be working on emails. They'll be doing all sorts of different bits of the role. So we don't have departments like a more formal business would be. Your call comes in, you deal with it right through, no matter what it is. So yeah, it is a bit like that. But yeah, I actually think the name Octopus is actually from the largest investor that we've got, rather than it being something symbolic, I think. Don't quote me on that one.
It's funny though, because the other day I was talking to my wife about the energy prices, and she said to me, we're with the company that the house was with when we moved in 3 years ago. And my wife said to me, we need to look around. She goes, we should look at Octopus, because you've got to go on Google and you see the customer reviews for Octopus. Mm-hmm. Everyone raves about you.
Yeah.
So you're obviously doing something right, because a Google review is finite. That's the ultimate thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that is exactly, I guess it dovetails into the questions that you're asking me, which is, you put the customer first, you keep them happy. It's the classic adage. I could be a management consultant. You keep customers happy, they stay with you, and they tell their friends, and their friends and family join, and you grow as a result of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies who have strict rules and policies internally, which, can't argue the importance of them. But when they come before customers or before staff, then that's when things get difficult, like computer says no sort of terminology.
Yeah.
But for us, if you put the customer first, actually everything else comes second to that. Those things do speak for themselves. Like Trustpilot is one of our key metrics that we measure our success by. And the awards that we apply for, we've been lucky enough to win a few awards last year in this kind of space, and it's like they're not there to brag or to shout about like we're the best. They're like an extra layer of validation for us. So it's like, okay, we think we're doing a good job internally. We're trying all these things, we're doing the things, we're getting feedback from customers, we're using Trustpilot to drive feedback. And when we get a bad Trustpilot, we'll go out and we'll speak to that customer and say, where did we go wrong? How do we put it right? Like each customer one by one, making sure that they're happy. And then the awards are like that extra extension on that to say, okay, we're pretty sure we're doing a good job. Let's go and apply for some awards and see what the wider community of businesses think about that.
That's interesting. So you don't just look within and look at the reviews. You're actually standing yourself up against others in the awards categories to see where you fit.
Exactly.
That's really good.
When we started off applying for awards back, a few years ago, we'd be pitching ourselves against other energy suppliers and saying how we're doing. And we quite quickly became the best energy supplier. I think we're okay to say that. If you look at our Trustpilot, that certainly confirms that fact. And then we were like, okay, well, what about other companies? What about other big UK, household names? How do we pitch against them? And now we're like going global and stuff. So we picked up another award, a European award this year as well, or last year, should I say. And it's like, wow, we're actually doing okay in Europe as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty crazy when you reflect back on where we've come from.
We'll have to start calling you Manchester City. You have to rebrand. Doing well domestically and abroad. So give us a quick overview of your entry then. What was it that you wanted to share with everybody else?
Yeah, so if I go back to what I was saying earlier around, we put the customer at the heart of everything that we do. And so many people can say that and make it look like that. But the examples that we use in the award submission highlight how far we go in that respect. So we've talked about some real hard-hitting subjects. So the energy industry went through a massive crisis. I mean, that's what we call it internally, is the energy crisis. The media probably refer to that sometimes. Energy prices shot up. Regular people who weren't in financial difficulties prior to that were suddenly forced with having to make decisions about putting food on the table or having the heating on, or cutting back on things that they could previously afford. So all of a sudden, overnight, we were under the spotlight as an energy supplier. Lots of people think we're really greedy and make loads of profit. I think it's not a secret that this year was the first year that we made a profit as a business since 2016. We invest a lot of our money back into improving, the business, but also the energy infrastructure to make things better, change a broken system. Overnight, all of a sudden, all of this scrutiny was coming in from customers, people who were in tears, upset about the fact that they had this bill that they couldn't afford. They were like, well, what do you want me to do about it? A lot of our guys here are young, either fresh out of uni or their first sort of proper office job. And a lot of them are new because we grow so quickly. We're bringing new people in all the time, and getting them trained up as quickly as possible is hard. So all of a sudden, you've got these very young and inexperienced in work people who are then almost being like a counsellor or a money advisor to sort of grown-up adults that are in this weird predicament. So we found ourselves not just talking about the energy bills, we were talking about whether they needed to cut back on their Sky TV subscription or where they could make other cuts to afford their energy bill. And it was like, okay, we need to do something about this. This isn't fair on the guys that are having to deal with that. So we got people trained up in money counselling advice. We got people trained up in doing income and expenditure forms with customers. We got people, sadly, we had to get people trained up in suicide first aid, because really at the end of the spectrum, when people who were reaching that point where there was nothing left for them, and to expect a 19, 20-year-old person to deal with a situation like that is pretty tough. So we invested a lot in upskilling our people to deal with that and help people through, the general public, through really tricky times. So that's one of the sort of more emotional things that we've done and we talked about in the award entry. But we do so much to try and make things right for customers. So customer has a bad experience. We're not perfect. Things go wrong. We have lots of new people, as I said. We train people very quickly and we expect them to do a lot in the role.
As the defending champions in excellence in customer experience, are you going to come back and defend your trophy next year?
We're so proud of the BQF Excellence Award that I feel it would only be right to come back and stop others from winning that, just out of pride to hold that badge.
Absolutely. You don't want another energy company coming here and stealing it, do you?
Exactly. Take out the competition.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Eversaline Extra. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of the UK Excellence Awards. To learn more about the UK Excellence Awards and what it means to be a BQF member, visit www.bqf.org.uk. Don't forget, you can catch more episodes of the Eversaline podcast on all major platforms or at eversaline.com. Whether you're seeking insights into leadership, continuous improvement, or simply looking to be inspired, we've got you covered. Until next time, stay excellent. Eversaline Extra is researched, recorded and produced by Matt Sims. Visit eversaline.com to find out more.
The Eversaline podcast.
Extra!
You know it makes sense.